Picture the world at the end of the 19th century. You've put on your finest dress coat, polished your top hat to a shine, adjusted your monocle, and prepared yourself to suffer. Because back then, the absolute fastest way to go visit someone was to jump onto the back of a horse that weighs half a ton, has a stubborn as hell attitude, and smells definitely not like French violets. Yeah, the cavalry life only looks romantic in paintings. In reality, you're either covered in manure from head to toe, or your legs are rubbed raw down to the bone. But hey, were there any alternatives? Oh yeah, carriages. Luxurious, prestigious, until you hit one tiny pebble, one snap, and your spine says goodbye, while you fly face first to go hug the nearest Victorian mud puddle. Trying to just run there yourself? Yeah, good luck with that. Your top speed is barely enough to lose a sprint against a local snail. Humanity desperately needed a self-propelled miracle. No mood swings, no horseshoes, and most importantly, zero manure. So engineers started doing some absolute madness. Idea number one, let's strap a massive copper teapot to a wagon. That's exactly what French inventor Nicolas Cugnot thought back in 1769. The result was a 3-ton monster that creaked horribly, spit steam in every direction, and clocked in at a mind-blowing 2.5 miles an hour. Seriously, even a lazy panda could pass this masterpiece like it was standing still. But the real trouble started when a royal arsenal wall suddenly appeared in this steam locomotive's way. No brakes, a jammed steering wheel, pure panic. Kaboom! Cugnot's machine went down in history, not just as the great-grandfather of cars, but as the culprit behind the world's very first car crash. The inventor lost his wig but gained a brick to the head. It was crystal clear. The steam era had hit a dead end. They needed a fundamentally different kind of engine. To make a vehicle light and fast, heavy steam had to be replaced by the power of micro-explosions. Enter Nikolaus Otto and his 4-stroke internal combustion engine. Sounds complicated? Let's break down how the legendary ice works using just our fingers, or rather, the example of one incredibly hard-working stickman inside a cylinder. He's got 4 strokes of pure pain. Stroke 1, intake. The window opens and our piston greedily sucks in the fuel-air mixture. I love the smell of gasoline in the morning. Stroke 2, compression. The shop closes up, the piston plants his feet, and starts shoving the ceiling up with all his might, squeezing the gases to the absolute limit. Physics is a brutal boss, buddy. Stroke 3, power stroke. A spark flies, and bang! A massive explosion slams the piston back down. The engine gets its energy, and the piston gets a mild concussion and a fresh, toasted look. And finally, stroke 4, exhaust. The exhaust valve pops open, the piston coughs his lungs out, grabs a broom and furiously sweeps the leftover gases right out the tailpipe. Germany, 1886. Meet Karl Benz. An immaculate suit, a majestic Prussian moustache, and the machine that will change the world forever, his 3-wheeled Motorwagen. Karl was literally dusting it with a feather. And there it is, the official birthday of the automobile. On January 29th, 1886, Benz receives a patent for his vehicle. But there was one problem. Karl was a hardcore perfectionist and was terrified of public humiliation. The moment he brought the car out into the street under the judging eyes of passers-by, his brain would trigger the worst-case scenario. He genuinely believed that right in front of the crowd, his brainchild would go achoo, explode, and blast off into orbit, leaving nothing but a smoking top hat behind. Terrified, Karl would wheel the vehicle right back inside, barricade the workshop doors, and lock them with a dozen massive padlocks. That's it, locked forever. The world might have never switched to cars if it weren't for one determined woman. Meet Bertha Benz, Karl's wife, the project's main co-investor, and a woman with nerves of steel. One August morning in 1888, while her husband was fast asleep hugging his favourite wrench, she simply grand thefted his only car. Together with her sons, Bertha wheeled the Motorwagen out of the garage on tiptoe by hand. One of the sons stepped on a twig. A loud crunch echoed down the street, giving the whole crew a near heart attack. But Karl just rolled over. The heist of the century was a success. Bertha decided to road trip to her mother's place. That's 106 kilometres with no roads and no gas stations. The fuel ran out on the very first hill. Panic? Nope. Bertha pushed the car to the nearest pharmacy and bought out all their Ligroin, and that's how a regular German pharmacy became the world's first gas station. A few kilometres later, the fuel line clogged up and the engine died. With a smooth flick of her wrist, Bertha pulls a long hairpin out of her hair, boldly pokes it into the pipe. Pop! And off they go again. On a steep downhill run, the wooden brakes wore out completely. Hurtling into a village at breakneck speed, Bertha asked a local shoemaker to quickly line the brake shoes with leather. Congratulations, the world's first brake pads had just been invented. It was the most extreme test drive in history. And they made it! Dusty, exhausted but victorious, the Motorwagen rolls into town, leaving jaw-dropped onlookers completely stunned. Bertha's bold move proved to everyone the automobile wasn't a dangerous toy built by a mad engineer, but the future of the planet. Orders came pouring in like an avalanche, and the wheel of evolution was now unstoppable. From a fragile three-wheeled buggy, cars evolved into roaring road monsters. And it's all thanks to one woman who wasn't afraid to take a risk.